Today's topic is your why. And if you've been around Beachbody probably more than 3 months, you have heard this before. But I'll tell you, when I started Beachbody, it took me almost 2 to 3 years to figure out my why. And so many times we go to these meetings and they're like, your why is going to make you cry. And I'm like, man, I don't know. Like, I don't know what my why is. I have this drive. I've got this something inside of me, but it's not making me cry. Like, what's really driving me? And so I was sitting there one night and I'm thinking, like, what emotions, when I think about what drives me in this business and what pushes me forward, what speaks to me? And it's not what makes me cry. What it is what really pisses me off. And it was that feeling that I'm like, yes, that's what it is. So I wanted to share with you, in case you happen to be like me and you're like, yeah, I don't know what it is. I'm going to give you some examples, because I have 2 main examples of what my why is, and maybe that will help inspire you to figure out what your why is. So my first one, so I worked, as I said yesterday, for corporate America for a really long time. And my 2 daughters, they're now 13 and 15, they, when they were born, they're from my first husband. When they were born, I, at week 5, week 6, had to go right back into my corporate job and put them in daycare. They were barely sleeping through the night. They were like so attached to me, and it really angered me that I had to put them in daycare, and then they got sick all the time because they were in daycare. They hadn't really built up their immune system yet, so every time they were sick, I had to take a day off of work, because I got 10 vacation days, and it's a really noisy day on the golf course today. There's all kinds of stuff going on. Look, I'll show you guys. Whatever. Okay, but I ended up using all my vacation days to be home sick with my babies, and I was burnout, run ragged, tired all the time, and it just was not the kind of experience that you hear these mothers talk about, where they're bonding and being with their kids, and I missed all of that. And when I later divorced, and then I met Neil, my husband now, and we had Reagan, I was 36, 37 years old, and I thought, so I was working for another pharmaceutical company. They moved my territory 2 hours north from where I lived. And I thought, okay, so I was pregnant, nobody knew, I hadn't announced it yet, and now I had to be 2 hours away from my front door by 8:30 every morning and not leave that territory till 5:30, and then sit in rush hour in 2 hours on a 2-hour commute. And the thought of that, and having this now 3rd and final child with the man of my dreams, pissed me off. I was thinking, there's no flippin' way this company is going to tell me, and I'm going to go through again everything I missed with my daughters, because I want to be there on this final time through every frickin' thing for my son. And no damn company, because it meets a geography matrix, that I have to travel and spend 4 hours on the road every day away from my family. That pisses me off. And so I ended up, Pfizer bought us, I ended up going for the severance package. And for 1.5 years, I didn't work, because I refused to go back to that corporate environment. And the irony is that Lindsay had presented this business opportunity for over 1 year for me. And I said, no. 4 times I had said no to her. But when I started this business, actually the biggest thing for me is I went to her house one day for lunch, and it was a little apartment she had mentioned in her call, and she had her desk, and it was overlooking the water, and she had some flowers and a candle and her cute little notepad, and mind you, she had been a coach probably 10 months at this point. And I would laugh to this day, because I went home and I thought about it, and I think she had me at home to kind of use the Jerry Maguire spoof. But I envisioned myself not sitting behind a freaking dashboard of a car driving, or behind a cubicle. Like, I wanted to sit at home and be there for this baby. And it was that vision that made me decide, yes, now is the time for me to become a coach. And part of my why to drive me forward to be successful in this business was to never, ever, ever have someone have control over me and my time and how I want to spend it with my family. That drove me beyond belief, because I never wanted to go back to those corporate handcuffs, those golden handcuffs. And speaking of which, Kim, congratulations. Well, that'll come later. But for me, it was just breaking those free and doing things on my terms and having my own autonomy. So that's what drives me in this business, is freedom and autonomy to do things exactly the way I want to do them and be with my family. And my son has never, ever known what my daughters knew. He's never known parents to get up and go to a day job. He thinks like all parents stay home all day and work. But my home office now is my vision of the life that I want to spend every single day sitting here. Here's my view. You can see this. That's my view out of my office. I never want to sit and look through a dashboard and eat my lunch in a car and feel that unthankful or have no gratitude from my company and just be a number and be told how and when I'm going to spend my time. So that is my first why. It's what pisses me off and what drives me to avoid going back to that life. My second one has to do with nutrition and health. So in that 1.5-year period, I was really struggling to lose weight. And I wasn't the health kind of person I am now. And I met a guy at the gym, and he told me about these HCG shots, and that I could lose weight really quickly. And, you know, even the stubborn weight, I would eat 500 calories a day, stick these shots in my stomach, and I would lose weight within 30 days. By day 12, my husband made me get off these shots because I was like a rip-roaring bitch. And I'm so thankful, because 6 months later, so I did lose a lot of weight in those 12 days, gained it all right back, because of course you eat 500 calories and then go back to a normal diet, you're totally screwed up. 6 months later, there was a quarter-sized tumor in my right breast. That breast cancer doesn't run in my family, had never been there on prior mammograms, and I was just like mortified. I had to have surgery to have it removed while they sent this big glob, smaller than a golf ball, off to a lab to be tested. And I remember, because Reagan was about 6 or 7 months old at the time. This was almost exactly 6 years ago, January. And I remember crying and thinking, when I was doing all this research, you know, when we find out that, wow, this might be the end for us, this might be our mortality, what the hell happened? Like, this isn't the way it was supposed to be. I'm finally home, I'm with my son, I'm with the man of my dreams, like, this is the life I'm designing for myself. Screw you for making me have this challenge. Like, I was so angry, and I tried to find control of that anger, like some reason, like something I could just grab onto to make it all seem like this is the way it was supposed to be. And I found that HCG, everything I found out, I won't get into it now, but everything that I learned about HCG directly, very most likely had caused that tumor. And I thought, in those 2 weeks waiting for those lab results to come back, like, I was mad at myself. I was mad that all I cared about was the vanity of looking hot and cute after having my third baby at 37 years old. Then I never even Googled HCG and what effects could have on your body. I was so ignorant and so focused on just the vanity of my results that I could possibly have caused something that may end my freaking life. And I was so mad at myself. And I remember thinking and praying, I'm like, you know, my mission, whether I have to fight this or I don't, my mission is to educate other people, because I know damn well there's so many people out there that don't question what they put in their mouth. They don't question the pills they take. They just look for the quick fix. And there's got to be a better way. And I swore that if I got through this, that I promised to God and promised myself, that is going to be my mission every single day, to help educate people. It came back benign. And shortly thereafter is when everything happened with Lindsay, and we were talking about Shakeology. It was not a coach. And you bet your ass, I researched everything about Shakeology, which is why I know what I know and love it immensely and see so much value. I started doing P90X. I eventually lost the weight the right way. Then I saw her at her home, and it was for me like the perfect storm of events that this was where I was supposed to be. And I went in full force. And so part of my why was obviously to have time and autonomy, but the other part, it pissed me off. I was so mad at myself for being that ignorant and that just oblivious to what I was putting in my body that it drove me to want to educate and teach people bit by bit every single day. And that's still such an ingrained part of my why as I see people getting sick and having issues, and I know so many of them are preventable, and I feel like I made a promise to myself, I made a promise to God that I would share that message with as many people as possible. So I share this because when people say their why is to help people, no, that's what we do. That's how we do it. It's not what we do. You're doing this for a bigger reason. And it could be whatever pisses you off. It could be what makes you cry. Whatever it is, helping people is how we do it. It's not why we do it. Help people all day long, but the bigger driver is your why and what really drives you to make a difference. So I will say this, for me, it was about helping to end suffering. And whether that suffering is financial suffering, health suffering, emotional suffering, that is my biggest driver in why I do this business. And I love working with people and helping them through whatever the suffering that they're dealing with. So I'm going to give you some other examples of maybe whys that could piss you off. And maybe you are a stay-at-home mom, your husband works, and you're on a very tight budget. And what pisses you off is that you go to Target, and if you spend $15 on a really cute new shirt that you want, you have to either hide it or explain it to your husband. That really would piss me off. It might be that your husband's in the military and it pisses you off that you're raising your kids all by yourself and it's really hard. It might be that you never see your husband because he travels all the time. It might be that both of you are working constantly and working 2 or 3 jobs and never see each other because you're burning the wick at both ends and you're a watered down version of yourself. Your why can be whatever lights that fire in you that Lindsay was talking about and drives you to something better. So your assignment and takeaway today under your coach picture is to really think about your why, what pisses you off, what moves you, and what just really will keep you grounded and going forward even on the tough days in this business. Take care.